wishing Paul McCartney a happy 83rd birthday. And you guys know he's my number one guy. He wouldn't have been if John had survived, but John was murdered tragically. I'll never say it any other way. He was murdered. Paul kept making music. It was 10 years after he was murdered. Paul kept making music. 20. Paul kept making music. Do you see what I'm saying? So over the decades, I'd have to say just on that alone, if you compare Paul to John just while they're in the Beatles or up to the point that John died, you've got two master duelists fighting it out as far as I'm concerned, and they were tied in my brain up until the night I heard Howard Cosell tell me I couldn't buy any new John Lennon material in the future. And he's been my number one guy. But I'm harshly critical. I think he charges too much. I think his voice is in disrepair. I think he needs to change his live set to accommodate what he can sing. And I also think he needs to write songs that can accommodate the voice he has today. Quit writing the ditties and then trying to pretend you're singing like you used to, so clear and wonderful, that made John Lennon, who had one of the greatest rock voices in the world, doubt his own abilities, right? Paul had that cherub kind of quality to his voice. It was so crystal clear, and he could screech like a Robert Plant, or he could sing as silky smooth as Mel Torme. The man put out what I consider 10 masterpieces, and I'll give you what those are, and then we're going to go on to this list. The following albums are, with one exception, you probably will disagree with me, and then one exception also on what I don't include in this. But think about this. Paul McCartney, only 1/4 of the power of the Beatles, managed to put out 10 masterpieces post-Beatles, rivaling the 12 that the Beatles came up with. All right? Yes, it took him decades to do it, but he did it, and he is a survivor. His masterpieces are, and in no particular order, just in the order they came out, was McCartney, Ram, Band on the Run, Venus and Mars, London Town, Back to the Egg, Tug of War, and here's one that you won't agree with, but you've been getting this album wrong. Press to Play. All right? After Press to Play came Flowers in the Dirt, which I'm almost tempted to put near masterpiece, but for tonight's, for purposes for tonight's stream, we'll call it a masterpiece. It comes so damn close, it's ridiculous. And then the album I'm going to skip over that many of you think is just one of his best is Chaos and Creation, with the exception of 3 songs on that album that are as good as anything he wrote for the Beatles. The rest of it tires my ass when I listen to it. And it's nearly, with the exception of those 3 songs, it's almost as boring as Driving Rain. However, I will include Memory Almost Full, all right, as his final masterpiece. And guess what? I would rank, probably if I had to be real hard ass and everything, I'd probably rank Ram over McCartney at number 1, Band on the Run, McCartney. I'm going to go with McCartney only because it's closer to the Beatle period, and it is the lo-fi and simple recording that I adore. Band on the Run would probably be my current 3rd favorite. Venus and Mars, number 4, right? And then you've got London. Yeah, I'm going to have to put London Town at number 5, and it'd be a toss-up between Back to the Egg and Memory Almost Full for the number 6 position. And that was very late in his career. Now, he's put out albums that I don't care for, like Off the Ground, crawling up his own hippie ass on that album. However, there's 4 or 5 gems on it. Biker Like an Icon. So even albums I don't care. Even Driving Rain had 3 or 4 great songs on it. And although I don't rank Chaos as high as some of you do, I do admit there's 3 classics on it, and maybe as many as 5 interesting. Yeah, another couple that could have been left on the album if more great material. But what a snore fest for me. And of course, I've been re-listening to McCartney 3 again. The voice in disrepair, so disrepair that he actually had other people go and record these songs and make albums and recordings of these songs so you could hear it sung the way it should sound. Because his voice is in disrepair and he's trying to sing McCartney ditties. That's my only problem with that one. Egypt Station is almost at the level of Flowers in the Dirt. All right. But a couple of big disappointments. And again, his international approach on it doesn't quite gel with me. But on every album he's ever put out, I could always find 2, 3, or 4 cuts that have enriched my life. So a belated happy birthday to Mr. James Paul McCartney, a.k.a. Sir James Paul McCartney.